So welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of detailing on a Mini Cooper. I'm going to be using some of the UHD wax and the shampoo, and I'm going to be doing some polishing, using some clay, just some sort of detail and stuff that I haven't been able to use in my Plasti-Dip MX5. It's my first time doing it, so hopefully it goes okay. The first thing I'm going to do is wash the car down with the UHD shampoo. After that I'll be moving on to the clay bar, I believe. And then after that, polishing and then waxing. And then in between all that, I'm going to be using some of the bumper trim gel, tire gel, clean the wheels, just a bit of everything. Giving a full kind of overview of all these Autoglym products. As a few of them, like the wax, clay, all that sort of stuff, it's going to be my first time using. So hopefully it goes okay, and I hope you enjoy the video. So first thing I'll do is wash down the car with the UHD shampoo. It's completely cleaned down now with the UHD shampoo, so I'm going to quickly have about 10 microfiber towels, which should be enough to dry the entire car. Once that's all dried down, it's getting a bit dark out now, so I'm probably going to try fit the car in here. So quickly before the car goes into the shed, to use the clay bar, do the polishing and waxing. I have a few other products here that I'm going to use. The wheels are extremely dirty and they're pretty rough in general anyway, but I'm going to go ahead and use their wheel cleaning mousse, the Autoglym one, and then I think the Magma gets off more sort of brake dust. It basically works on iron, I think it is, yeah, specks of iron, so that'll be brake dust mainly. So that'll probably go on afterwards for more stubborn stuff. And then I have their tire gel as well, which I've used on both my MX5 and the lifted MX5. That stuff's class. And finally I have their bumper and trim gel. There's no sort of bumpers or trim on the MX5, so I've never had to use this before, but I'm lucky with the Mini. It has loads of black bumper plastic material, so I'm going to use that on all of that now. See how filthy they are there on the inside, the amount of brake dust. But this stuff with this is the wheel brush from Autoglym as well. You can see how easily it all comes back. See it kind of going back to silver there, versus probably like that was what it was like on the inside before. Just so much brake dust on these, as they haven't been cleaned properly in months, I believe. In the garage now. After using all the stuff on the wheels, and the trim looks class as well. The trim was starting to look kind of grey and faded, and the trim gel is kind of bringing it back to black now. As you can see, the back as well, it's all lovely and nice and even. This is the Autoglym clay detailing kit that I'm going to be using first. So when you open it up, you have, so this is what you have in it when you open it up. You have the clay detailing bar, you have the rapid detailer, and you have the actual polishing resin. So when you take out you have the clay bar in here, which you take out. And I use a small bit of this using the rapid detailer as well, just to kind of lubricate the surface for where you're going to be working the clay bar into. And apparently you have to fold it over and kind of reshape it, just as it picks up contaminants and stuff like that. You don't want to be rubbing them back into the paint. So that's what I'm going to be doing. When I go over the start, if anything picks up, I'll try show it on camera. I've never used one of these before, so it's going to be pretty cool to see how much of it actually really takes up. So that's what I'm going to do, is use the rapid detailer and the clay bar, and then after that I'll be using the polish. After doing the bottom of the door as well, you can see the amount that's coming up down there, so it clearly is taking off a lot, as well as feeling the paint. It feels so smooth. I've never used this before, so usually when I wash it, it's usually still kind of gritty afterwards, but it just feels like a brand new car. Crazy. So now that the door is completely wiped down with the clay bar, it's crazy how smooth this feels. It is insane. For a 12-year-old car, I didn't realise what clay bar has actually done until using it today, about how smooth they are. So the next thing I'm going to use is the super resin polish that gets put on, and I'm going to wipe it down with the Autoglym finishing cloth. The car is now completely cleaned down with the clay bar and the polish, so the whole car is done now. So the next thing I'm going to go on to is the UHD wax. So the way this works is you wet the white side of this and then you lightly dab it in on it's kind of a hard clay wax this is, just to soften it up a bit, and that gets put onto the car and left to dry for about 15-20 minutes. So once that's dry, then you use the microfiber cloths. They're finishing cloths. I have one here. I have like about 10 of these red ones, and that gets used to basically wipe it all off. I've heard not to put too much on, as if you put too much on it can be very hard to get off and get a nice finish. So I'm just going to put on a very light amount of it, as it's my first time. I don't want to put on way too much. I can put more on next time if I don't put on enough. So that's what I'm going to do. While I'm waiting for the 15-20 minutes for it to dry in before I wipe it off, I'm going to use the glass stuff I have. It's one of their glass cleaners. I'll show it in a second. I'll use that on all the windows on the car. So that's what I'm going to start with this first. About 20 minutes now, so I'm going to start wiping down the wax. While I was waiting for that to dry, I used the glass cleaner as well, the fast glass, and you can see on this car it looks so good. It's basically kind of glass the entire way down the side of the car, and you can see it's like a mirror. This stuff was so good. First time using wax or anything like that, so hopefully I didn't put on too much and it comes off and looks good. So we're going to start wiping all this down using the finishing cloth. I have a ton of them. I have so many of them. I need to start washing them now at this stage. So I'm going to wipe all that down and I'll bring it out and get a few shots of the car then. So as you see from those clips, the wax is on. It looks so good. The whole car is completely finished now. I was really surprised with the wax. I was there messing with the water, as you see from those clips, just spraying the water on. You can just see the beads that was forming with the water, and it was just going straight off. Made sure not to put on too much, as I was told that less is more, which is what I done. I didn't want to go overboard. It was only my first time detailing. I think it did turn out pretty well. Definitely my favorite was probably the fast class. You can see, I think it's probably with the Mini as well, the way it's like windows all the way down the side. There's no kind of center beam or A-frame, I think it's called, so it does look really good in that car. It's like a mirror. And then the wax as well, obviously that's class, just being able to see the water sit on the car. And that's it for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.